All right, President Biden now facing a trio of impeachment inquiries. As House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says, House Republicans have uncovered credible allegations into the president's conduct during the Biden family investigations. Let's bring in Jonathan Turley, George Washington University law professor and a Fox News contributor. So here is part of what McCarthy said earlier today when announcing this trio of impeachment inquiries at the committee level. Listen here.
I don't know what he was doing. I did not know he was on the board of that company. I've never discussed my business or their business, my sons or daughters. I never discussed a single thing with my son about anything having to do with Ukraine. I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business.
Well, that obviously wasn't Kevin McCarthy. What Kevin McCarthy said was, I do not make this decision lightly, and regardless of your party or who you voted for, these facts should concern all Americans. Did you have any doubt, Jonathan, that this was going to happen?
No, I didn't. I've spoken with Republican members over the months about how to proceed with impeachment if that is what they have to do in the end. There was a degree of inevitability once the evidence began to mount, but also when other evidence was being withheld by the Bidens, by federal agencies. Keep in mind, you'll notice the narrative has changed. Many Democrats are saying, all right, Hunter Biden was engaged in influence peddling. He was selling access to his father, but it was all an illusion. And so the argument now is that these very corrupt figures basically were ripped off by the Bidens, that they gave millions of dollars on an illusion that wasn't real. Well, first of all, these are people who don't usually buy illusions. That's why they're renowned for their corruption. But the question is, how do you know that? I mean, if you accept that there was an influence peddling scheme, which is itself a form of corruption, how do you know that it was purely an illusion? We have this complex series of accounts and shell companies being used to transfer these funds to various Biden family members. There's obviously a need to investigate. By turning this towards an impeachment inquiry, doesn't mean you're going to have impeachment, but it makes it more likely you're going to get these answers.
So here's what the White House said in response. Ian Sams, spokesman for the White House counsel's office, saying opening impeachment, despite zero evidence of wrongdoing by POTUS, is simply red meat for the extreme right wing so they can keep baselessly attacking him. This is the narrative, obviously, that the White House has been pursuing, that there's nothing to see here and that this is just simply a political exercise. But that would seem to belie all of the evidence, or be belied at least by the evidence that these House committees have come up with.
Well, the White House staff has got to be careful. They are becoming part of this narrative. They're making denials of facts that, frankly, are well known. The president has engaged in wrongdoing because he's lied to the American public. I mean, I don't know anyone that seriously questions now that the president has lied for years. You know, we have witnesses like Tony Bobulinski saying that not only did the president discuss business dealings, he sat down with the president to brief him on these dealings. You have Evan Archer, who said outright that the president's denials were patently false. That's evidence. Those are witnesses who had direct contact with the president. And so denying the reality is not going to help. And polls indicate that the public isn't buying it. The vast majority of the public believes that the president was involved in these dealings. And so we've got to really put an end to this nonsense because it treats the American people like morons. I mean, they want to see answers as to how far this corruption went. That's not asking much. And the impeachment inquiry will get those answers, I think, in quick order. And I think that the White House knows that.
We will see. James Comer's already sent a letter to Anthony Blinken over at the State Department saying, in part, the committee seeks to understand the State Department's sudden change in disposition towards the Ukrainian Office of Prosecutor General in late 2015. So they're on track. They were just waiting for the official green light from McCarthy, but it's full steam ahead. Jonathan, great to see you. Good to get your take on things. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.